If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
Get your ass kicked, get back up, put the gloves back on, and you swing away.
Work hard, put in the time, you will succeed. This is hard work. This is an obsession. Nothing can beat hard work.
And my rule is that the right time is always right now.
There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A.
Don't be afraid to fail.
The most dangerous thing you can do in life is play it safe.
Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you.
Right. Okay, so this is probably number, I think episode 12 it might be.
Really? Already? Congrats. Well done.
Yeah. So who are you? What do you do? And what have you achieved?
Okay, so my name's Tom Hibbert. I own a gym in Southampton. It's a personal training only gym. It's called Winning Health Solutions. We've been open for seven and a half years now. And I now have a great team of 5 dedicated trainers that each have their own specialist area of expertise. Last year, maybe the year before, I started Winning Performance. Winning Performance is where I help educate trainers. So it's where I offer my seminars, consults, internships, and different courses to help educate personal trainers, strength coaches and the like. I'm also probably more known for my exploits in the sport of strongman at the under 90 kilo level. I am the current and reigning England's strongest man, and I've been lucky enough to win that competition 3 times. Last year was the first ever world strongest man at under 90 kilos, the first official one. And I came second in that one to a guy called Terry Rady. Yeah, that's me.
So how did you get into strongman?
What happened was I was missing a competitive element in my life. I'm a fairly competitive person. I'm fairly good with setting myself goals and being competitive with myself. But I was missing a sport. I'd stopped playing football. I played football, from the age of whatever, all the way up through uni. During uni, I lost a bit of passion for it. I was playing mainly 5-a-side. I was playing for the university team, but I was also going to the gym a hell of a lot. I remember people used to comment, "Oh, Tom's in there twice a day," and I used to do that during exam time because I would find it horrendous. And dissertation time, I'd find it horrendous to be in the library all day. So I ended up training twice a day just to break things up a little bit. Not correctly by any means, but anyway. So I was missing a competitive element through lack of football, or football was no longer my passion. A good friend of mine, Aaron McGoyan, said I should get into strongman. I looked at him and said, I'm not sure about that. Looked at some of the videos, and the guy I was actually looking at and trying to compare myself to, of all people, was James Ward.
Right.
When you're a novice strongman looking at a guy that has his records are still standing in strongman, this guy was a phenom. He's the kind of guy that wouldn't lose an event. All round game, all round strength. So I looked at those videos and thought, I'm not anywhere near these guys, thinking everyone was at that level. So I probably waited a year longer than I should have. There's that whole thing everyone always tells themselves, I'm not strong enough yet, I'll wait a year. So I waited a year and then got into my first contest. It was a beginners only contest, which was brilliant because it was a first timers only. And it was up in Manchester at Mark Clegg, or the Clegg's gym,
Dragon's Gym.
Dragon's
Elite
Gym.
Dragons or something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And it was labelled Champs of the Future. I was like, right, I'm up for this, trained to write for it. Turned up in my trainers. Yeah, we had deadlift. The video's online, it's quite funny. And I managed to win that. My first contest, I was quite happy with that. Really happy. It's actually one of my proudest moments. Yeah. That and winning the first England was definitely the proudest moments for me. So foreign sport strongman. So yeah, I was missing my competitive element. Aaron said, you should get into it. And one thing led to the next. And because I'm competitive, I've slowly but surely just ground away at it.
So I looked at your bio last night on the website, and it was 2011 came 11th.
Yeah.
And 2012 you won. So
2011 I didn't even qualify.
Right.
I qualified by the fact that so the Southern qualifier, I came the same as you did, I think.
Really?
6th or 7th. I think I came 7th. We knew one guy wasn't going, called Outspan, Adam Hales.
Oh right, yeah.
Strong guy. We knew he wasn't going. He had to do naturals, or he didn't want in on that.
Yeah.
So we knew I was the next in line, and then I think Chris Bundell dropped out. So I got the nod as the 5th qualifier, and I mean, the deadlift was my max for reps. So I hit 2 on that. I was quite happy.
Isn't that still one of the heaviest deadlift for reps ever at under 90 though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heaviest I think was probably Europe's.
Mm.
It was on a normal bar, but it was a Jordan bar that was slightly longer, and they did 270. And Davey Wallace cranked out something like 8-10 reps. Incredible deadlifter. He's got a phenomenal deadlift. I think they were allowed suits. I can't remember. It was Europe's when I had a hip injury. I had to skip Europe's and Brits that year. But yeah, I got 11th in 2011 and managed to. Was it 2012? 2012 I must have won it.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2013. Our room won it 2012. I won it 2013 for the first. Anyway, just the years are mixed up. I think it was kind of like the perfect storm, where everything that could have gone right for me went right, and Shane, who ended up coming second, it was down to me and him on the last event. I mean, the guy beat me on the deadlift by I think 50, maybe 55 kilos, and he's still that much stronger on a deadlift than me. But putting the whole comp together was different. I think there were 3 what you would call medley or work capacity type events. The log, Shane won, but I did okay. A load of us got second place. Aaron, as the returning champ, bless him, was injured in the first event. Injured before he went out. He had to pull out very early. And then the other event, like arm over arm, I'm a lot taller than Shane, so it handed me the advantage on that. Same on the power stairs, I'm taller than him, so it handed me the advantage. So it was kind of like 50-50 all the way through, and it was always going to come down to the last event, which was the medley. And going into it, I'd never lost a medley, and coming out of it, obviously never lost a medley. And again, it did suit me because I was taller than him.
So is that the side where some people are suited, because obviously Shane's a phenomenally statically strong athlete,
but
you're very good.
He can move.
Is he getting better?
I've seen him move with a 400 kilo yoke quickly.
Wow.
Like he beats some opens. He may be weighing a little bit more than 90, maybe 95 kilos, but that's 400 kilos on his back and moving quite quickly. So he's not slow by any means at all. Shane's weakness is not speed, it's not strength. He's a phenomenal all-round athlete.
But you take more to the dynamic side of it, don't you? The carries.
At first, I was a lot better at it because it's easy to be good at a medley because strength takes time. A medley in the moving events, you just have to kind of get from A to B and work on your speed. Static takes longer.
Yeah.
So me trying to catch up 50 kilos on Shane's dead, it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, he's a phenomenal squatter, phenomenal presser. He's got the all-round game.
So which one do you think builds on each other? Do you think static will build you moving, or does it depend on athlete, or is it the other way around? What would you say?
Not many static help moving. If you think about it, if your deadlift improves, the pickup in the farmer's walk will improve. But I find the yoke is the best. Yoke and the different sleds like we were doing today, the different set of systems work. But yoke will transfer to hip musculature, which will have a great benefit on pretty much every other event.
So it takes me quite nicely into the next question, which is that, in my opinion, from where you've kind of taken strongman from the kind of meathead just perception it has and put a science behind it. That's the way I see it. What was it that caused you to set up Winning Health Solutions? How did you do that, and what's the ethos behind this place that you've got here?
So I actually started Winning Health Solutions with 2 other guys, and we kind of pulled together because we were working in a commercial gym and we were paying 700, 800 odd pounds a month in rent. You add that up, that's, was it 2021 to whatever, 2,400 a month in rent, and that was going nowhere. I wasn't investing in anything. So we looked at it and we thought, well, monthly we can definitely survive in a different place. So we looked for another place. It was here. We started it up. Unfortunately, after 2 years, the business wasn't progressing. The issue we had was we had 3 people who all had equal rights, equal saying, but nothing was really getting done. There was no direction behind it. So I presented the idea of me taking it on and took it forward from there. The ethos of the gym, well, it's personal training only, but it's kind of like, I don't have a set ethos. Strongman is a big part of what we do because we can do it year round. Most people have to go outside and it's not comfortable, it's raining, it's not ideal, it's off-putting. We can do it year round. We have the AstroTurf, we have separate area for all the movement events, farmers walk, kegs, whatever. So we can do that year round. I also found that a lot of the stuff will transfer. Like you're learning today, there's a great amount of exercises you can use in a rehabilitative setting called modified strongman training. It's great for work capacity, it's great for fat loss. It's different. Instead of the same static stuff, body pump classes, we used to do modified strongman classes and we build our reputation that way and people would train that way. So only real difference maybe from other gyms, because we have access to it, is we use a lot of strongman exercises for all people. Whether you're a strongman, whether you're a housewife, whether you're an athlete, there will be an application somewhere which we can use. Like, I don't like Olympic lifting for the reason that if you're doing it from the age of 7 till 12 or you're young, you can kind of be patient and learn the motor patterns, and you can learn them quicker, and you'll keep them for the rest of your life. And like Misha Koklayev trained with nothing but the bar for 2 years. I can't do that because I'm too impatient. If I started 6 years ago, I might be okay at it now. I get a bit impatient with it. So, for instance, we find that we can get more weight and a better transfer to athletic populations with the log. Because of the front displacement, there's more pressure on that.
Easier to learn triple extension.
Yeah, I can teach the log in 5 minutes. I've heard other people say they can teach Olympic lifting in 5 minutes. Yeah, well, I can, but you'll still be shit at it. This way, I can take you from 40 kilos to 100 kilos quickly. I took Aaron Page from a 100 kilo ropey log to a 200 kilo, as in floor to overhead, 200 kilo log in, I think, less than 3 years.
So doubled it.
Yeah. Whereas you tell me to do that on a barbell, it's going to take me ages to do that with a heavyweight.
I'm going to use that word that you hate now, which is, it is functional though, isn't it? The strongman training.
It is. It's different. It will the way you're using functional makes sense. Functional's a term or a word that's been bastardized by those guys who think standing, balancing on a Bosu ball is functional movement, but it's not. It transfers to everyday life. It transfers to sport. I mean, look at farmers walk or uneven farmers walk. It transfers to someone who has to pick up their shopping, for instance. Sounds stupid, but an old lady who has an imbalanced hip and or core musculature, that's a movement that they're going to want to do. It's always the small movements people get injured. They put their legs out the car, their lower back goes. They bend down innocuously to pick up a scrap piece of paper, their lower back goes. It's always the innocuous things. We kind of prepare people for that.
And grip and lower back is, if you watch it, whenever you look at an elderly person, they're the two main things really. I think they're hinging out of a chair and grabbing onto things. So it's incredibly important for all aspects of life, really, isn't it?
So another reason for elderly, we teach we start with box squats, but we teach powerlifting style squats. So we teach them to get strong with their hip squat. Yes, we want to progress them into an Olympic lifting squat, and it is better for their joints, so on and so forth. But you've got to pick the right population for it. And what's more functional for an older lady or an older person than the hip hinge squat? No one does an Olympic lifting squat down to their couch or toilet. Okay, no one does it. So you want to prepare them for that. And usually they're dropping that last quarter inch. So on all my squat seminars, I go through that. I last did it in Birmingham. We went through all lower body exercise progressions and regressions at Shapeshifters in Birmingham, and I made them all get proficient at a powerlifting squat before I left, and they were like, wow, that's completely different to what I'm taught, but it makes sense in the fact that I can teach it. I don't have to go heavy. I'm not saying you've got to go low bar and build up the weights with an elderly client. I'm saying you need to teach them proper mechanics.
So it's just a pattern behind the squat.
Yeah, motor pattern, absolutely right.
And it's one thing that's unique about here is you spoke about having elderly clients in here, but you have guys such as Lee and Aaron who are pushing 180 200 kilo logs above the head, 300 kilo plus deadlifts and squats, yet you have the ability to cross transfer that to a demographic which is much more broader than the average strongman. So how have you managed to do that in terms of without the intimidation? What's the kind of atmosphere like that you're meant to build?
I mean, that's probably one of the things we're most well known for. The issue you get is getting across the line. So the first step, we understand that there's many aspects to the psychological process of picking a personal trainer. So it's actually going on our website and going, right, this is the kind of gym that I like, or I like the idea of this. Then it's actually contacting us. Then it's actually turning up to your booking, and then it's actually not running out the door when you see everything. So yeah, people walk up and they think, oh, it's intimidating. But 90% or more of our clientele are first timers, never been in a gym.
Really?
We tend to make them into, obviously, look better than the general pop. But 90%, people want to look better naked, and people are looking to personal trainers more and more these days. And the ethos and the culture, like we have housewives training at the same time as international strongmen. Okay? The ethos, it's something that I've built up from the get-go. It's a case of you help everyone and you're always positive. There's no looking down on anyone. I think it's a lot of paranoia. People are paranoid that happens. Whereas the biggest guys are usually the biggest softies.
Mm-hmm.
They said that at my wedding recently. All my ushers were strongmen. Like, oh, they're just such a, they're a bunch of softies. And they are. They're just willing to help. They just look a little bit different, and it's the person's paranoia at maybe what they look like and what they might be, which is never the case.
Mm. And what do you think, because with so much emphasis on what the public actually wants, they say it's like body composition, there's so much emphasis in the public eye about, body composition, but how much of an element does strength play into that? Because it's great for client longevity and retention, I think.
Yeah, huge. Obviously I said that to you years and years and years ago. Strength athletes are much easier to retain because they're thinking about the long term.
Exactly.
Whereas body comp, right, it's backwards.
Mm.
So people come in wanting fat loss, but it's actually they think they want fat loss. People come to us because they're unhappy.
Mm.
And they think having a six-pack will change it. It's like the difference. It's like, okay, I've got 70 grand in the bank, maybe 100 grand in the bank will make me happier. Everyone knows that having more money doesn't necessarily make you happier.
Mm.
Yeah, you might be able to buy more things and it might be happiness for a short time, but it doesn't make you happier. Okay? So most people are not coming to us for fat loss, or they are coming to us for fat loss, and we're pointing out it's because you're unhappy.
Mm.
And then we use, and I know it's going to come up, I know you're going to ask about it, we use the lotus seed process, lotus seed life for that as a mindset technique. But yeah.
Well, we'll go into that because it was further down the questions, but we'll go into it because it's something when did you come across that? Or how? Well, first I'll tell that story.
How? I still had two business partners, so it was 2 years into this place, so that would be 2011. And a guy called Jeff Sober introduced me to it. He was a client here at the time. And I think he gave one session to each of my business partners at the time. And they said, this is pretty, this is different, this is cool, this has had an effect.
Mm.
So I was wary. I had a session with Jeff, as in I was training him, and he said something off the cuff, and I was like, "How do you know that?" Like,
you can't swear. It's fine.
It's his insight and intuition because he can read you and read your body. Simple as that. And you can learn these techniques with them now. Like I'm now an associate specialist, and any personal trainer can become an associate specialist. We'll get onto that. But yeah, Jeff introduced me to it. I did a session with him. It was unbelievable. And then for the next 2 years, I did weekly sessions with him, working on all my core issues. The Lotus Seed process, Lotus Seed Life, the easiest way to describe it is it's a technique to help rewire your brain, or rewire your brain for success. As we go through life, we pick up negative patterns. We call them blocks, and it could be many things. It can come from many different areas, from when you're a kid to when you're an adult, and they come up in lessons. A lot of time people are making the same mistakes over and over again, but they're not quite getting it. What the Lotus Seed does is it can help rewire your brain so you can understand a little more about these lessons and what you should be doing and how you should be acting. It makes people take action.
Mm. Which is the number one thing. It's all well and good having these positive affirmations, but without the follow-up, it doesn't really mean anything.
So the science behind Lotus Seed, a session, you go through negative statements and positives. There are many different methods out there, like tapping, which is EFT, emotional freedom technique. You can't tap your problems away. Okay? It doesn't fucking work. You tap and then you do positive affirmations. Well, then you're completely ignoring the negative. So you're sweeping the negative under the carpet. When in life can you just ignore a problem? A bill comes in, I'm going to ignore it. Well, it's a bigger bill now. It's got more debt on it. You can't ignore it. It goes to court. Then you end up with a CCJ. It gets worse and worse and worse. You cannot sweep the negative under the carpet. You have to act on it. So the first thing you do in a session is you go through negative statements. Then you can fix them with the opposite, which is positive statements.
And it's quite hard. When you first did it, did you find it was like almost choking on the things that you had to say because it puts you in an uncomfortable position, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it really brings to the fore how powerful your own words are. You can't just think them, you have to verbally say them. And then that is what helps direct the practitioner. So how you say it, the tone, whether you struggle in saying it, what comes up afterwards, whether it makes it a reaction. People cough, scratch, or itch themselves because they're itching to do the next statement. They want to get off it because it's hard. Or they break down, people break down in tears as well because it's such a tough statement to say. But it's only words.
Yeah.
But it helps rewire your brain. Helps you think more with your prefrontal cortex. That's what the rubbing of the forehead does. That's been shown in applied kinesiology by a guy called, I think it was David Frost. I'm going to bring out an article soon explaining more about the science. One of the issues we've got is the clientele is 80% female, 20% male. Why? Because males want to avoid their thoughts. They think, being emotional or showing emotions is weakness. Okay, cool. So 80% of our clients are female. I think part of the problem is males don't want to show their emotions, but they also want to know a bit more about the scientific side. Like, I've used this with Aaron, with myself. I've been using it for years. I used it with Matthias Belsack 3 weeks before he went to Worlds. I spoke to Brian Shaw about it. Brian Shaw was like, yeah, he's a cerebral kind of guy, meaning he thinks too much.
Yeah.
He's a strong guy. He knows he's one of the best in the world. He just needs that little confidence boost. So we did a few sessions. We worked on his main issues leading up, and we put him in a mega confident, mega competitive mood. He got to the final. He came 9th out of 10. Granted, Lawrence was injured, Lawrence Charlot, but that was his main goal for the year. He was happy just reaching the finals. Anything else was just going to be a bonus. He just wanted to enjoy it. This year, again, he's got another tough group, but we'll see what happens. You never know with injuries.
And it's just basically like how you'd approach strength training, isn't it, with your brain? So it's you're only as strong as your weakest link, and you need to do these, like, your remedial exercises. We know from a strength trainer point of view, but it's usually going through and doing and saying the things that you really don't want to do, which is the hardest thing. And it tells a little bit more about the actual physical manifestations of your thoughts, because that's what brought me hook, line and sinker.
The link to...
So the injuries that...
so everyone usually, or apart from one guy today, everyone knows that stress can cause a stomach ulcer. But every single thought you have is linked to a body part. So your knee is linked to something. Your hip is linked to something. Getting a headache is linked to something. So there's a reason behind each... there's a physical ailment behind each emotion. And the resource for that is Louise Hay, Hay. And you can just type in Louise Hay and the body part. So it goes all the way back through, it's a bit spiritual, but it goes back to traditional Chinese medicine. For instance, the right side of the body is male, the left side of the body is female. So you've got yang as the right, yin as the left. So if you have an ailment on the right side of the body, it could be to do with yourself if you're a male, or it could be to do with someone close to you in your life. And people are like, oh, that sounds a bit too spiritual, that sounds a bit too hippie. But when it's pinpointed exactly every time, there's no such thing as coincidence. The issue you've got is it's very difficult to prove a science to it, and people want scientific proof. So there's different scientific elements to lotus eat, and I'm going to bring it out in an article and explain a little bit more about the science, because I think that will help males get over that first hurdle on this is just bullshit. Yeah, because
going back to what I said before about the Braverman and the stuff we discussed about the Thibodeau seminar in terms of personality typing, is it can come across as like a soft science, but until there's actually some like physiological kind of research into it that proves something's going on, it can be hard to buy. And the very first session I ever did was with Vicky, and it was really difficult. You're like choking on your words. I really don't want to say that.
She's a special person.
Yeah, and she's the one who does it with you.
Yeah.
And
I just spent a week out there with her.
Oh, is that where you were? Oh wow, what's it like?
Unreal. I was just spending a week learning, seeing how she did sessions.
Right.
She was helping me with a few things personally as well.
Yeah.
And it just blows your mind what she knows and what she can do. Like, you could think of her, I think most people may not believe in it, but the kind of people that are promoted as sages, and they have a knowing. It's not knowing. She's just able to use her brain in a different way. She's able to use her intuition and her insight in a different way to other people, and you can learn it. So everyone has this ability. They're just not in touch with it. Everyone has a gut instinct. You have that for a reason. Follow it. Use it. Everyone has an instinct for a reason. Everyone has that intuition, but they're not honing in on it. They're ignoring it. When you go through Lotus Seed process or the Lotus Seed sessions, and you get rid of all these blocks, you'll find that your intuition and everything improves. Your decision making improves. You have clarity. You have balance over every situation. Nothing affects you. Something comes in, you look at it and you go, well, what's the lesson I need to learn, or do I fix it, or how do I react? Instead of being reactive, you actually be proactive with the situation. No such thing as a bad situation, it's how you react to it. Yeah, exactly. It teaches you how to be logical and sensible, keep calm. Like one of the things that we did prior to the competition I did here was like not panicking. And one thing that I found that going into competition, which we'll speak about in a bit more depth now, is that it's not, you work your ass off for 3 or 4 months as a prep,
But going into it, if your nerves get the better of you because of the way, because the fear behind it, then it all goes to pot. And that's when strength sports especially become more of a psychological game of who can hold it together on the day the best. And when you spoke about the visualization, we did the pre-comp session, didn't we, a couple of days before. It really kind of changed the way you're looking at it. And what I found is when I competed here is that, the result wasn't outstanding for myself, but I really enjoyed the day. But it was also like I'd done it before, and all the things that I was expected to encounter, like nerves, were just completely gone through this rewiring of how you look at the situation. It's quite an amazing process, really.
It's interesting you bring that up. What happens when people panic and they start fear is they're thinking with the wrong part of the brain. They're thinking with their limbic system, which is the prehistoric area of the brain. So it leads to rash decisions, which is not what you want. You want to be thinking clearly. The lotus seed helps you switch and use your prefrontal cortex, which is going to help with your decision making. So this is where the article that's going to explain the science comes into it. But visualization, I'm a big proponent of that. You can use it as far out as you want, but when it comes down to it, 1 week before competition, especially with strength sports or any kind of athlete prep, you've got 1 week. You may mess up your peak, but the most important thing you can do in that week is ensure that your head's switched on. You can be sure that visualization is one of the only things that's going to make you stronger. You're not going to get stronger from one session. You're not going to get stronger from just deloading right, but you can definitely make yourself. You can hinder yourself with having bad mental attitude, but you can definitely improve performance by using visualization. Anything up to the day of.
So talk us through what was going through your head before Worlds, because the whole point of the podcast is to interview people who are on a world stage and compete at a world level. What's the mindset behind that, and what are you thinking before going out competing against the world class athletes?
I went out confident. I don't go into comps thinking, I'm going to finish second. This is cool. I finished second, and looking back, I am happy with it based around some of the injuries I had and the fact that Terry was much better on the day. But I go in confident. I go in knowing I can win it. Now I go in knowing it's like that fine line between arrogance and confidence. But now I go in, trying to, and I present this on my seminars. I go in thinking all eyes are on me. I'm the show. I'm what everyone's talking about. I'm what everyone's thinking about. They're not, but that's what I'm looking at. I'm there to perform. I'm there not to show off, not to be a showboat, but I'm there to get in the zone. And getting in the zone is much easier with the lotus seed. But going into that show, I didn't have any issues. I knew my shoulder wasn't perfect. I knew my hip wasn't perfect. Banged it on the first event. Hip went out on the deadlift, or lower back went out or something. And just persevered through it. But I don't go into comps thinking, I'm going to come second. I go into comps thinking, I'm going to beat more than anything else. Whether I am or not is irrelevant.
So it's the belief factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the Conor McGregor quote? I've got it actually in my house, so I should be able to.
I have belief I can win. I have faith that everything will work out. So if I had a bad event, so I had one bad event that probably cost me even getting anywhere near Terry that day. The overhead, which is usually my strongest event, but again, these things happen. I know that strongman is not 1 in 3 or 4 events. Unless the guy's won every single event, like I think I did it at England's. I won with an event to spare in 5 event comp. But usually it's going to come down to the last event no matter what. Maybe he comes last and I come first. It happened to John Paul Sigmas and Odie Wilson in Worlds. God, that was how many years ago. But strongman is consistency over 5, 6, or if there's a 2-day event, 10 events. So one event doesn't make it, and the key is you make a mistake. It's like, okay, well, I need to learn the lesson for next time. One of the important things I do myself, I do it with Vicky, and I do with my athletes. I pull them in. Is 1, 2, 3 days after the comp, we have a debrief, and I learned this from a guy who Clive Woodward hired for the 2003 World Cup. Is that when they won it?
Yeah.
2003 World Cup, an Israeli guy called Yehuda Shina, and he's got a book, I think it's Winning Mindset or Winning something, and the important thing he does is he debriefs his clients. I debrief my client 2, 3, whatever days after the comp, and we go through what went right and what went wrong. So we're not ignoring the negative, but also not ignoring the positive. Most coaches go, what went wrong? Boom, let's focus on that. Well then, you're not reinforcing what they did right. So then they don't know that that was the good thing to do. They don't know that's why it went right. And sometimes you have to point it out to them. That went right because of your mindset and what we did the week before. Oh, okay, so they know that we can just reinforce that pattern by doing it again. One success creates another success.
And talking about like the actual structure behind strongman training, you have a very kind of like specific way. How's that come about? You know, like the splits, the overhead on the Monday. Yeah,
Okay,
your
specific. So overhead usually there's always an overhead in strongman.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's either going to be a squat and or a deadlift, and then there's going to be a lot of what we would call traditional strongman elements. Now the way most strongmen train that I've seen is they do all their static work during the week, and then they do one massive event session on a Friday or Saturday, which could take anything up to 5 hours. Which is actually quite specific because comps can take that long. Bar body power yesterday, they did 90 in 90 minutes. I think they did 5 events.
No. Yeah.
Shane and I love that kind of thing. I love a quick turnaround. When I'm there all day, I'm not happy with that because I want to eat.
Yeah.
But Shane and Aaron, they performed incredibly well. If you see the numbers, Shane and Aaron were not happy. They were fried afterwards. They were like, "Fuck, this is horrendous." But I enjoyed that. Dave Warder did that at Europe's one year. But the specific structure, it's just again experience over years and years and years. I have ratios, and you can find them on Starting Strongman. And it's a case of if your deadlift is the 100% lift, your back squat should be 85% plus of that. Olympic style back squat, not powerlifting, halfway down back squat. We're looking at full Olympic depth. And then your log should be 50% of the deadlift. So when you put those numbers in, and I've got other numbers, there's like strict press, behind the neck press, strict log, all sorts of things. When you put those numbers in, most of the time, people are too weak on the log, so I need to prioritize it. Or the overhead, we'll call it. So we put the overhead push press day first. It's also a explosive, lighter on the spine than say a squat session or a deadlift session, which would come on the Tuesday. So if you did it the other way around, you did deadlifts before log, your lower back would most likely be fatigued, sore, whatever, for the overhead session, which will limit performance there. Whatever gets trained first gets the best stimulus. Now I know you pointed out to me that certain neurotransmitter types this week don't do well on the first day of the week. My answer to that is don't eat carbs the day before, so you're not boosting your serotonin, overboosting your serotonin, and sort your dopamine levels out beforehand. Whether it's a speed session, or whether it's you taking dopamine-related substances, or whether it's just getting laid.
All three.
All three.
All three
at the same time. Yeah. So I would say sort that out because whatever is trained first, either in the week or the session, is going to get the best stimulus because it's when you're freshest.
And the CNS remembers what you do last, though. Yeah, happy with that. Yeah. So, what are your plans? So, let's go into a bit about winning performance because you were in the trenches, personal trainer at the gym. Then you set up here. You've kind of excelled from that now, where you don't do any one-to-one. Do you? Any one-to-one anymore?
I try not. No.
Don't do any one-to-one anymore. You know, you've got your very well-established team with each of them have a niche which run the gym, and you've gone into winning performance. And one of the things that I love about your philosophies is how you're saying about, you know, don't be just a rep counter, and it resonates with me because the last thing I want to do when I'm training someone is just going 5, 6, 7. You know, you have to be interactive, coaching them, soft tissue work, thinking about the program, thinking about it intelligently, because that's what sets you apart, and essentially that's what's going to earn you more money. So, what is winning performance, and what's it based on?
Well, I started winning performance because I literally got bored with training clients. I found more of a challenge and more excitement educating my own trainers within the gym. I think I got pretty good at that, so I rolled out the systems that I use and thought, guys, these are the systems I use, these are the benefits, come learn. And it was basically that. It just excited me more. I get more pleasure out of spending. I could have spent another 4 hours just going through technique with you guys, but no one wants to be learning until 10 o'clock. It's difficult, but I just got more pleasure out of it. So winning performance is just the many different systems I've learned and am learning and implementing, and then giving you guys the best of advice that wasn't necessarily around when I was around. It's also a case of that our trainers, like the PACP was when they first started, I won't hire anyone that hasn't been there, seen it, and done it. I think that's important. I think that was a great element of the PICP. I'm not sure if it's missing now. I don't do this stuff, but it's just teaching my system.
So it's your version of it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my version of anything. It's my intellectual property, and going, guys, this is what I've learned. Here you go.
And what are the most common mistakes as a personal trainer makes in regards to client progression, and why is yours different for that?
Biggest mistakes trainers make. Firstly, they don't train people for long enough. I see people go on a couple of courses, and they don't apply what they've learned, or they think they know it all already, and they don't go and do further study as well as training people. I see plenty of coaches do the opposite. They study and study and study, but they don't fucking implement, and they haven't got results with people, and they think they can go out and train trainers. And it's like, fuck, get in the trenches for a couple of years, learn a little bit. Train people properly. Like, if you don't train people 4 times a week, you're not fucking training people. Train them 4 times a week, consult them once a week, then you start learning. And my coaches get to learn quicker, not just because obviously they have me and I teach them all the time, because we do semi-private. So they have to learn quicker because they're training 4 people at once. So they're learning 4 times as quickly as other people. They're reading 4 programs. They're taking 4 people through technique. They're doing 4 soft tissue sessions or whatever, manipulations within a session. But what do people miss is that they're not getting in there, they're not getting results, they don't know how to get results. I think they're led astray by a lot of people.
Because that's where the evolution of my business has massively progressed, because I've realised that in a commercial gym setting, you usually have about 15 clients where they'll do between 1 and 2 sessions a week. You'll have some, good clients who'll do 2 or 3, but it's like one, they buy a block of 10 sessions, do see you once a week, and they get absolutely nowhere. But whereas I think Andre Benoit said the same, and it's your ethos as well, is that it's frequency and exposure, so that 4 times a week is the buy-in, and it's very hard not to get results with someone who's seeing you 4 times a week for 12 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah. Success comes around from small steps done consistently over a long period of time. Training once a week is no consistency. If you're not training 4 times a week, you're not training. Or active. We'll say active. Because clients come in, if they're doing like they're playing 5-a-side football once a week, that can count towards their activity levels. I'm fine with that. But you need exposure to train. Training someone once a week, you're going to do a split. 1 full body session a week, you're going to get fucking nowhere. But yeah, the biggest mistake is people start doing the wrong thing too early. They think they know it all already. Get results, produce a world champion, roll out before and after, before and after. Make your own system, start noticing what's different about the way you do things. Yeah. And then show others.
So earn the right to do it.
Earn the right. Kind of. So you've got to put work in before you can start teaching people. And I believe I've done that now.
Yeah, well, you've had producing the world's strongest man athlete or working with the world's strongest man athlete and having them drawn to you, it's pretty good credentials. And turning yourself into one, because I go as far as saying you wouldn't say you're a genetic freak, would you? You've genuinely turned yourself into...
I wouldn't. My wife, she's probably biased, and one of my friends said, "Oh, I think you are." Well, fuck, I've worked so hard to try and keep up with people like Shane, push Rob Ward as close as I can. I have to work so hard to keep up with these guys. We're talking twice a day, 3 times a day, dead on with nutrition. Like, some of these guys are not following, the same lifestyle I am, like with nutrition, for instance, or supplementation or whatever. So keeping up with these guys is incredibly hard. But no, I don't believe I'm a genetic freak. I think there is something in my genetics. Like, my uncle ran for Great Britain.
Okay.
He ran at 10.6 at age 14.
Okay.
Which is incredibly fast. I think he got sidetracked in the Navy or whatever, so he didn't go all the way with it. Maybe he didn't have that last push. But there must be something there. But yeah, I've worked hard for it. I don't think of myself as a genetic freak. I think once you do, maybe you'll get lax. I continue to put in the work, and I don't believe in limits.
Absolutely.
People come to me, 180 kilo log won't be possible at under 90. Well, I believe it is. It hasn't been yet. But I believe someone or I will do it at some point. And
confidence is built by preparation, I think, isn't it? The more you do 3 times a day slugging it out, and the more, like, recently you very kindly put me through superccumulation, and it's like, when you're going through that thing where you realise the lengths you're willing to go through, it builds your confidence as well. I deserve to be this level of strength, I deserve this, which again works in well with the lotus seed, but you get the right, that this belief that you can get stronger, because it's that mental block of, am I doing the right thing? Whereas you work your nuts off, you think, well, no, I deserve to get stronger because of all the work I put in. So it's the work ethic itself, really.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. there's one thing that's consistent with every successful person on the planet, and the one consistent message through every self-help guru, whether it's Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, whoever, put in work.
Yeah.
There's no amount of, like, The Secret might mislead you to believe, that original book by Rhonda Byrne, where it's think happy thoughts and, you know, the law of attraction will come to your aid.
Absolutely.
Well, I can think I want to win the lottery, but if I don't play the fucking, if I don't buy the ticket, I'm not going to win it.
Yeah.
So you still have to do the right things. Which again, that's what Jeff really kind of brought home to me. Is yes, there's spiritual laws, there's laws of the universe, and I understand them. Whether I'm using them to my best ability, I don't know. I understand them, but there's also just basic business principles that he also taught me, and people forget that.
It's a lot simpler than people think, isn't it? Like, you educating yourself and always progressing is very, very important, but the success that you've created is based on very simple principles, which is just the small steps, work very, very hard and continue to move forward.
But it's nothing that I've found that's new. It's a case of I've studied successful people and I've gone, what have they done? Like the ratios between the log, deadlift, squat. Well, who's the first guy that I saw do structural balance ratios? Charles Poliquin. Learn as much as you can from him, then learn as much as you can from the next guy, and dot around until you find all the right answers and you've got your own system.
Yeah, so it's like a little bit of West Side, a little bit of Poliquin, a little bit of whatever it is, and then suddenly it weans out to become Tom's methods, which is essentially
it's the Bruce Lee maxim or axiom. It's absorb what is useful, reject what is not. So whatever works for me, I use. Whatever doesn't, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't teach it. It's somebody else's. Like, I don't teach body fat calibers anymore.
Oh, really?
I don't teach it. I've never taught it. I don't use it anymore.
Oh, fantastic. That's good to hear.
What's the point?
How cool?
You know what? Go on Christian Thibodeau's website. He wrote a great article, but he went on a seminar and his body fat was done by God knows how many people. And you've got to be fucking good at it for it to be useful. So use a DEXA scan or just look in the fucking mirror. That's the biggest thing people don't do.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror. And this is what I teach my coaches to educate my clients. You must weigh yourself and be able to look at the number and be like, okay, it's either up or down. It's not, oh, it's up, it's the end of the fucking world. I've had people, I've done their biosig and I'm pretty good at it with their body fat. And then I've told them their weight and it's gone up and they've all, the body fat's gone down, done all their sites, then they've gone, what's my weight? It's gone up. The body fat's gone down, they feel leaner, they're happier, then all of a sudden they know their fucking weight and they're unhappy, get grip.
Yeah.
So I don't do the body fat things anymore. That's the biggest thing I've taken out.
And there's nothing worse than seeing a before and after picture online where the person looks marginally different and it says they lost 15% body fat, and it's which you do see. And it's funny you said that because we haven't spoke about it before, but one of the things I was going to stop doing altogether isn't measuring. I will always measure, but it's include it online. Because no, include the this person X lost 15% body fat, because people don't care if it's 3 or if it's 30. It's the visual difference, isn't it, that makes
the visual difference is the most important. But men like numbers.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So men like, oh, what's the difference in percentage? But it's all fucking irrelevant anyway, because the biosig or bioprint scale is different to the DEXA scale. So like, what is the true percentage? It's just a fucking arbitrary number. Did you go up or did you go down?
Yeah. Do
you feel better about yourself is way more important than all these numbers. Which is why we tell people you got to weigh yourself. You have to look at the number, and you have to look in the mirror. Naked, half naked, whatever. You have to look in the mirror. People avoid it. When they avoid it, they're avoiding what's truly happening. So they delude themselves. They're like, oh, I can have this per week. When in actual fact, if you kept looking at yourself in the mirror, you'll start to notice yourself when you slide. And then you'll be like, okay, well, I'm not happy with the body fat I'm at, so I'll do something about it. Instead of just avoiding it and pretending it's not there.
Which is
realistic.
Self-regulation, which is your ethos, isn't it? Your caption. Cool. Right, so last question would be... Actually, no, last question I'll do a quick fire round because I like that one. I'd be interested with you. What are your goals for future as in both business and as an athlete?
As an athlete, I have lots of unfinished business in under 90 strongman. I'd like to continue to... I haven't won Britain's or Europe's yet. I'm only become 2nd or 5th or whatever. And I'd like to win worlds, so I'd like to continue my success in strongman. I'd like to get towards world records then, and maybe the log. I don't know. I'm more of a... I prefer titles to world records, if I'm honest. More like maybe Brian Shaw in that respect. In business, I'd like to grow and expand WHS into more sites, Winning Health Solutions. I'd like more gyms, either up in other countries or in different countries, with a different business model. And then WP, I want to reach more trainers. I want to make sure that they're still learning. I want to make sure that they're getting the best of what we can offer them.
Fantastic. Okay, quick fire round. This always takes people by surprise. What was it? Favourite exercise?
Log, clean and press.
Favourite supplement?
It's probably something like a Kick or Javastim, so a caffeine-based supplement with adrenal support, so it doesn't make you crash.
Favourite food?
Trickle tart.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm a pudding kind of guy.
Okay.
That's trickle tart, trickle sponges is my thing.
Favourite movie?
Favourite movie? Remember the Times. That's easy.
Oh, right.
Denzel Washington. It's the only movie I can watch more than once.
Have you seen The Equalizer?
Yeah.
I
like Denzel.
You can watch that all day.
I like Denzel Washington as an actor. I think he's alright. He's good. In fact, there's some good YouTube videos of him. I actually like his ethos. He's a clever guy.
Yeah. I know it's really there. And if you were to liken yourself to an animal, which animal would it be?
Animal? Fuck. A lion.
A lion?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
I thought that. Cool. Well, thank you very much for doing this, Tom. We've just finished day one of Tom's first rehabilitation course.
Yeah, it's a rehab seminar that I am teaching alongside Pierre Wren.
Mm-hmm.
We've done assessments today. We've gone through some exercise technique and progressions, and then tomorrow we go through different fixes, and then most importantly program design. So it's aimed at rehab specialists, either physios, osteopaths, whatever, but it's also aimed at the personal trainer that wishes to learn more about rehab, and they can do it within the session or create a separate product.
Alongside a physio, which would be helpful, really, isn't it?
Or alongside a physio, because that's what's missing. There needs to be a link between rehab and strength training.
Mm-hmm.
People think they go to physio, and then all of a sudden they go to a gym. No, you should probably contact someone qualified to now get your strength up to par. Mm-hmm. Physios are not strength experts.
And go back and forth between the two, create a synergistic system, like you said.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Tom.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.